Okay, we're gonna start the interview. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Of course, my name is Corporal Myra Canto, and I work for the Finney County Sheriff's Office here in Garden City, Kansas. I've been working for the Sheriff Department for about 5-6 years. 4 of those have been working outside as a road deputy. I started working at the jail, and now I'm a road deputy.
Okay, we're gonna do this interview about human trafficking, and we're gonna ask you some questions. This is for a class, and I was gonna ask you, what is human trafficking?
Human trafficking is a serious felony offense. It's unlawful act of transporting people in order to benefit them from their work or service, forced labor, sexual exploitation.
How is human trafficking different from smuggling?
Well, smuggling is just the illegal movement from one country to another, for in and out of the country. It could be people or it could be drugs. The smuggling is just coming into the country.
Okay. Who are the victims of human trafficking?
The victims of human trafficking, unfortunately, is vulnerable people. Typically undocumented people with little or no education, new to the country, young girls, children, pretty much just vulnerable people.
Why are people trafficked?
People are being trafficked, it all comes to one thing, and that is money. That is mainly the reason why people get trafficked. It's just $1 billion industry, trafficking.
Okay. So next question is, what if a trafficked person consents? Can they consent?
If they are consenting, then it could still be traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Again, most of the trafficking victims are doing it because they are afraid. And the tools that traffickers use is like they use physical and emotional the threats, isolation from friends and family, economic abuse, and they are there under false promises. So these vulnerable people are expected to get all these things in return, and so they're putting in the work, whether it's like hard labor or they're being exploited sexually. So technically they're not consenting, they're just unaware that this is happening, and a lot of them are unaware that they are victims.
Who are the traffickers?
The traffickers really could be anybody. It could be anybody. Here recently in Garden City, Kansas, we took a big human trafficking case. Unfortunately, my suspect, she is a teacher and she was a counselor. So really, there's not a specific person that fits the suspect role. It could really be anybody. You just never know.
Is there different forms of human trafficking?
Yes. The main 2, 3, it's sex trafficking. Children are trafficked to be like sex slaves, pretty much. Hard labor, that's one of the main ones too.
Do many traffickers get caught and convicted?
Unfortunately, due to the victims being afraid being scared, or sometimes they don't report these crimes. Unfortunately, victims rarely report their crimes because of these things, because they are scared. A lot of the traffickers threaten them by, they get threatened by calling immigration, you're going to get deported. Or I'm with young girls, I'm going to kick you out. You're not going to have nowhere to go. Nobody's going to like you. Nobody's going to love you. You'll never find somebody that will treat you like me. Or a lot of them don't have money, don't have anywhere to go. So no, they don't always, these crimes are not always reported, unfortunately.
And what is the impact of human trafficking?
The impact of human trafficking, well, they destroy people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can only imagine what these people go through. They stop believing in humanity after sometimes they become numb to situations. They start drinking. They go through PTSD. That's the impact that they have in life. It's very difficult for them to, after this crime, it's difficult for them to have a normal life without them having all these symptoms.
And that's how they cope.
Yes, that's how they cope with alcohol, drugs, as well as eating disorders as well. They start eating a lot, or the big one is they don't eat enough too.
Is there any healthy ways for them to cope?
Yes, absolutely. It takes a tremendous amount of therapy. Unfortunately, not everyone could afford it, or a lot of people are not aware that there's places out there where they can go and receive these therapies for free. Sometimes they don't want other people to know. They're embarrassed, so they don't come forward with any of it.
What has been your most recent experience in human trafficking?
My most recent experience with human trafficking, we took a big case, like I said earlier, and this was forced labor. People were being smuggled here to the United States from Honduras, brought in vans here to Kansas City, and they were put to work in cornfields, including children. Their work conditions was horrible. They had no breaks, little to almost no water. They were isolated. They were working there. They were not allowed to talk to each other. They were expected to work at a fast-paced environment in the sun with no water, no breaks. They endure physical punishments as well as verbal. According to some of the victims, if they would pass out or if they would get tired, they wouldn't get paid as much, even though they worked like 12, 13-hour days. So, yeah.
Did the victims know they were victims?
Not all of them, no. They came here and all they were thinking is that if they wouldn't work hard, their living conditions would be better. That was not the case. They were literally being enslaved here by these traffickers.
And how were they helped?
They were helped. We had different agencies come and assist with, it snowballed out of control. The case became huge. We had over 100 victims that came forward. I can only imagine that there would be a lot more. They gave us enough information to where we arrested several individuals. They are going through trial right now. The victims were helped. They were given, they were placed, especially the juveniles, they were placed in safe houses where they can, a lot of them started school already, the young ones, even the teenagers. They are currently going to school. Immigration and customs are helping as well to resolve their immigration status. So they will get their documents and they are going to be able to remain in the country legally. So that's a good thing. They are going to be able to find better jobs, better paying jobs. So it's a long process, but we'll get there.
What can citizens like me what can we do to help them?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody that sees any signs of human trafficking, if you see something is not right, just the best thing is to report it. They are not going to come forward and just say, "Hey, I'm being a victim of human trafficking." So if you see any signs, again, just report it. It could be nothing, or it could be a huge case, like the one I took that started from literally nothing. So yeah, just be aware of the signs and be aware that it could be anywhere. Nobody, especially like the big cities, border cities, those are more prone to have these kinds of problems. But again, here I am in Kansas taking a big, huge human trafficking case.
Is there anything you would like to add to this interview?
No, not at all. Just that, just report anything, talk to the people, get information, and just report it and let law enforcement officers take it from there, because it could be dangerous as well.
Thank you for allowing me to interview you.
You're welcome.